Today, we're having a coffee with Trent McLaren from DiviPay. DiviPay is a platform that helps you issue virtual corporate cards to your team. It's also a way of having complete transparency over budgets and spending inside your business. And it's all wrapped up inside an easy to use platform that's at an affordable price for small businesses to help them stay on top of their spending.
Yeah, so where do we start? I'll start with the website. It's probably the easiest place to just paint a bit of a picture, and then we can jump into the product and check that out. So two founders for DiviPay were ex-Westpac innovation teams. So they were working with customers, learning how banks build products and the particular type of financial services products that they can build. And through doing that for a few years' time, started hitting a few brick walls. They were building really good things, but they were never actually getting released. You meet all these customers, you'd see all the pain points, you'd build these rapid, awesome prototypes, but never actually get it out into the market. So they got a bit fed up. They said, we can do this. We can actually go and make a difference somewhere. Let's just go and do it ourselves. So they had the idea for DiviPay on the back of the tech they were experimenting with and learning all about during their time. And they said, let's actually start it as a consumer product first, but through pivots and iteration, became a virtual company card or a virtual corporate card. So the easiest way to sort of think about it is that you can instantly issue cards, as many as you need, like hundreds in seconds. So if I needed to give everyone in my team a company card, I can do that through a few clicks. I can give them all $10 each. They can go and spend and do what they want to do with it. And you kind of saw that with the bio event that we did the other week. So that was a good example of being able to just issue lots of cards with money and being able to track every single purchase and everything on the back of that. The really cool part about it is that you're controlling all the spending before it happens. So I'm issuing out all my cards with a budget, with a limit. So I'm almost building my payment policy into the card itself, so that I'm not having to check. It's not just a card with a limit of $5,000. It's individual budgets with certain limits that can only be used at certain areas or certain venues.
Preloaded card. So you want to be conservative with your budget. You know they're not going to go over it because you've only loaded it for a certain amount this month.
Yeah. And on the back of that, we can start to automate the expense management. So all the data, the thing I love about DiviPay is all the data we collect from the payment services. So when I spend money at a FPOS machine or a cafe down the road, we're automatically pulling out all the merchant data. So I get the GST, the GL codes. The MasterCard tells us that it's a cafe. So from that, we can determine the GST. The system prompts you to upload the receipt the moment the payment happens, so that I'm not having to wait till later. Normally, for a lot of bookkeeping, you're waiting for the receipt to come in before you can actually code and do anything with it. But we can actually get 95% of what we need from the transaction without ever needing to see the receipt.
Yeah, nice. So like Receipt Bank Hub Doc kind of wait for the individual to upload the receipt into there, whereas you're saying you can get it from the merchant, so it kind of speeds up the processing task.
100% speeds up that processing and just all the data. Like thinking about advisory and trying to figure out all your spend in real time. Well, if everyone's using DiviPay, that's almost a live data feed. Every transaction is a live data feed. You're not relying on the receipt to create that data feed. We actually announced this today, and I'll just pull it up and show you, but we just announced our integration with Slip today as well. I don't know if you've heard of Slip before.
No, I haven't come across it before.
So Slip's a digital receipts or a green receipts option. So the idea is that when you shop at Chemist Warehouse, they'll automatically digitize that receipt and send it to your NAB account as pictured. But now, as of today, they can also send it straight to DiviPay. So the digital receipt and the GST and all the data can get sent straight to DiviPay, straight to the cloud, without actually me needing to do the photo or the OCR capture.
Nice.
So I can literally just tap and pay and walk away, and that's it. The rest of it's done.
Yeah. How do you go with line item extraction? That's been a big part of conversation with our clients recently. Does DiviPay help facilitate that? Or
we have options for splitting expenses from within the app itself. It is something we obviously want to be able to look further into. And I think tools like Slip will help with that, because everything on their receipt is itemized. It's not scanning it's getting the data pushed straight to the system. It's not just scanning a digital receipt.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an e-invoice in that sense. It's just it's getting data sent to each other without having to actually scan and look at the info that's on the receipt.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's only just gone live and launched today. So there's an article on the AFR about it, which is quite cool.
Nice.
So really simply, you set your budgets, you issue the cards to people that you need to spend the money. They tap and pay with their phone, so Google or Apple, and then the expense management automates on the back of that. So all the data comes through, they can take a picture if they need to, and then all that pushes into the accounting software.
Nice. And I mean, a lot of the clients we work with are on either Xero or QuickBooks.
Yep.
How does the integration work there? Is it a separate bank feed that each card then comes into, or is it one combined?
So it's one combined account. So you get a DiviPay expense account, and that automatically pushes in when the integration's live. So on the Xero side of things, especially when you go to reconcile, DiviPay is fueling both sides of the transaction. So it's both the bank feed and the spend money in one place, all in one account. So if you've got teams with 10, 20, 30 cards, it's all going to just show as one account, and just makes the reconciliation a lot easier because you're not trying to balance sheet
too, so you don't have a massive list of GL codes. We try and keep our general principles, try and keep the GL codes as short as possible without losing any information. So sounds like a great approach.
Yeah. So it's just like a big old clearing account. So all the spend money is just going to one bank feed. And match off from there. And then, as said, all the receipts will flow through on that spend money as well. So whether that's the photo we've taken, or if it's a slip, so a digital receipt that we've pushed through, that will all flow through on that side. Just to cover the important parts financial security wise. So we follow all the same rules that banks have to follow when setting up bank accounts and credit cards. So it's all encrypted. There's the same fraud prevention programs in place through MasterCard that we have to follow. It's all secure. When you're setting up with DiviPay, you're getting your own unique DiviPay bank account. It's not something that's mashed in with other accounts or other people's money or anything like that.
Yep.
And it's probably a good, easy way to step into the product. So this is me jumping into DiviPay right now. So the first thing you see is like all of your budgets. So we talked about before having a budget spread out across. So I've got, multiple people on different budgets, but I can be on 2 or 3 or 4 budgets, and I'll show you on my phone what that looks like as well. And each budget almost represents an individual card, except in this case, James and Mark both have a card for this budget.
Awesome.
Their own unique card. So it adds another layer.
A card's a unique 16-digit number with an expiry date, to simplify, right?
Yeah, correct. So like in this instance, James and Mark have both got their own separate 16-digit unique card number that only they can access on their phone, specifically for this budget. But when I jump into that, you can see that they both have a different limit of what they can spend. So James can spend $1,000 off this budget, and Mark can spend $500. Traditional credit cards, you get one card with a $5,000 limit, and I can spend it on whatever I want. In this sense, we're saying that, Mark might be able to spend $5,000 because he's on so many different budgets, but they have to be allocated to different things.
Yeah, nice.
Within that, I can set rules on the budget that might actually categorize into certain things. So this can streamline, again, some of the coding side of things. If I had a budget for gifts, everything I spend from that budget could just go through as a gift, as opposed to me trying to figure out, where should that have gone to?
Yeah, right. And so do they then tie to GL codes in your chart of accounts?
Correct. Yeah. So you will map these MasterCard merchant codes against your GL codes.
Yeah, cool.
And you do that just in the settings. So it's one of the first things you do when you set up with DiviPay. So as the spending happens, you can see the pie starts to drill down. If I click on Mark, it's showing me the individual transactions from this budget specifically. But if I want to see the full shebang, this is the equivalent of a DiviPay bank feed. So that clearing account I kind of mentioned on the accounting software side, this is all of the data here. This is spending it down from the balance but individualized with everything that came from the transaction. So I can see the merchant, the category we've allocated, the amount, the GST. I've got a copy of the invoice attached. If I needed to split that expense, which we talked about before, I can do that from here. And if we're doing things like FBT, fringe benefits tax, I can add in who was present at the transaction. If I'm doing tracking categories in Xero, I can mark that down as well per transaction.
Nice.
The really cool part about the transaction screen is that I can filter and drill into these really efficiently, something I can't do in my bank account that well. So if I'm trying to look at something specifically, I can say, okay, show me this person, show me all the tax invoices they've not uploaded. And I can see really clearly 7 transactions that Kimberly hasn't uploaded. So I can export it as a CSV, PDF, say, hey, can you log in and please update this so that we've got all the info.
Yeah, nice. Like download from Google or wherever they get it from.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let me just show you the mobile experience side of it.
How does it work topping up the budgets? Do you like initiate a direct debit out of DiviPay, or do you transfer it in and then allocate it to a budget?
You can do both of those options actually. So you can transfer money in, and it's all NPP enabled, so OSCO instant payments, or I can set up a direct debit.
Yeah, cool.
Where we drop below a limit, and then I will just push that in automatically.
Nice.
Cool. So this is my partnerships budget. This is my actual DiviPay account. So when I'm here, if I click on partnerships, this is me choosing the different budgets that I can pick from.
Yep.
So when I click to a different budget, that's then giving me a different card number essentially. So this is me choosing the card that I want to spend money from. Is by choosing the different budgets that are there.
Does the budget automatically renew at the start of each month? So does it understand a fresh start on the first of the month?
It does, yeah. So my $1,000 limit here is actually a reset because this is my first day back in the office. So it's showing me $1,000 because that was my reset for the 1st of October. Versus some of these other budgets already have money spent.
Unused, or does it just start afresh? Or
it just starts fresh, so it doesn't roll over, it just resets. So if I haven't spent it, then too bad in a sense.
That's good from a business owner's perspective though, so there's not like a build up of unused funds.
Yeah, it's not accumulating at all.
Okay.
Those two things that happen here, I guess. So when I've changed budgets, I click use budget in Apple Pay, and I've got 2 options. If I click pay online, and I'll just show my coffee budget because then it won't matter so much. It's going to show me that 16-digit card number, which you can see. So that's generated automatically. So when I pay for things online, this is where I get that information from. So my CVC number and the 16-digit card number.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When I click to use budget in Apple Pay, this is now saying that I can pull up the card in my wallet and I can tap and pay using my device.
That's cool. So easy.
Once the payment goes through, the expense appears in the bottom right corner. So you can see I've got that red icon for expense. I've got a Typeform subscription that's gone through, and I need to actually fill in the information for this. So international software, so there's no GST. I can just say Typeform subscription. I'll upload my receipt through the app later.
Yeah.
And that would then be done. So that would then move to the completed section. If I look at something...
So initiating the credit card from inside the app gets you around the card limitation in Apple Wallet. Because I think the Apple Wallet only lets you have 3 cards stored in it. And essentially have more than that sitting in here.
I think you can have more. I mean, it wasn't something that popped up for me ever. Okay. Like I've got a few cards in there now, as you saw.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a restrictor or a limitation for me.
Okay.
This is a transaction I did at the virtual summit the other week. Actually, we were getting coffees and everything for everyone. So I'd put the tax invoice in. The only thing we're pulling from the receipt is the GST because we capture everything else automatically. Yeah. So we put the GST in the transaction. We've categorized it as a meal. and we go from there. The only other really cool thing to show from the mobile app is that I can request money as well. So it's almost the reverse of a reimbursement claim.
Right.
So rather than me, I might have a $0 budget, or I've only got, $100 in my budget, but I need to spend something for $350 or $400.
Yeah.
I can just hit request, tell them what it's for, choose the budget it needs to go to, and then that will get sent to in this case, my CEO.
Yeah.
He can approve it, and that instantly becomes available on my card.
Nice. And so how does that work behind the scenes? Is that a OSCO direct debit that gets set up then, or?
No, and what I might do, actually, I'm going to jump back and show you this in the app. Where we've got the bank balance in the top left corner where it says 50 grand,
Yep.
This is the real money that's actually in my DiviPay account.
Ah, okay. Right.
So there's 50 grand in the account right now, and this is the BSB in the account number that I get
Gotcha.
when I set up my DiviPay account. So
Yep.
my balance is 50 grand. My budgets are just limits. So we haven't actually got money separated into these micro accounts.
Yep.
It's just saying that for the 50 grand that's there,
Mm.
I'm allowed to spend $500 of that 50,000.
I see. Okay. Cool. That's clear.
And that's essentially, it's all based around what's in the balance. So when I look at my balance and I look at, you said before, I can manually transfer in, or I can set up a direct debit.
Yeah.
I can bring it back to 50 grand when we dip below 10.
Right. Yep.
So that way I'm never running out of money.
Yep.
And then my budgets are just here to help. You may not need this many budgets. It's a test account, obviously. But some people set them up for like different departments, different teams, different locations, different projects. It could just be, in this case, it's ZeroCon. So we've got a one-off budget. And so it never tops up. So it's either every week, every month, every year, or never. So it's a one-off. I can choose the person that can approve top-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see all the different categories that we've linked that budget to. So when we spend money on ZeroCon, we haven't been too specific. We've just ticked a bunch so you can see the options.
These are the things that could be relevant to that.
Yeah. So we find that accountant bookkeeper plays an important role of helping create the budgets and the categories that you want people to be able to select.
Yeah.
But that's cards and the bulk of the product in that sense right there.
Yeah, nice.
The only other two parts worth sort of calling out, we do have a subscriptions product. So this is a redundancy play. It's helping you to prevent any issues to workflow. So if I lost my wallet and the cards in my wallet, I'd have to change every piece of software or app I have with a new credit card.
Yeah.
DiviPay lets you create one unique card for each different piece of software that you've got.
All right. Okay.
So in this case, I've got a subscription for Atlassian.
Yep.
Got one for Google, DiviPay, MailChimp, PI.
Yep.
This keeps track of all the transactions, so I can see that all these payments are only Google, and I can only spend $300 a month on this card.
Yeah, right.
So the idea is I get the card number from my phone, I upload it into Google, and every month Google will charge me for whatever my fees are.
Yes.
If there's a leakage or my data's been lost somewhere and someone starts trying to steal money from me, I will see those different transactions. I can pause or freeze or unfreeze that card.
Wow, you could figure out exactly where the data leak is if you've got a unique number for each different online subscription.
Yeah, and the real benefit there is that I'm not then changing out every piece of software. It's just the one that was impacted.
It's mind-boggling the number of different card numbers that must be out there then.
Heaps. And this is the thing, everything here's got its own unique card number as a result of that.
Yeah, wow.
The last thing I'll just sort of touch on, so we've got a Payables product now, and this overlaps a little bit with some of the other OCR bill processing systems out there. But the biggest benefit DiviPay brings to this is that not only will you be able to code and extract all the data from a bill, you'll also be able to pay the bill from DiviPay. So you're never going to have to log into a client bank account to pay bills. You could actually authorize and approve payments for bills from DiviPay.
Yeah, right.
So think about this as like your Payables workbench in a sense. So the bills come in, we extract out all the key data in the bill.
Yep.
Payment details, GST, invoice, due dates, We choose the schedule date. We pull out the bank account details that we're going to pay into. All I need to do is code the bill. So who's the owner, what's the budget, what's the category, and whether there's a tracking category or not as well.
Nice.
That sends an approval notification to the owner of that bill. So similar to before where I requested money, similar notification, hey, can you approve this bill?
Yeah, okay.
Once they click approve, they might as well be clicking to pay it based on the scheduled date.
Okay.
Because DiviPay will then pay that bill based on the scheduled date. And that will then, so again, in this case, it's an EFT payment. So through that BSB and the account number.
Yeah. Wow. So not even using a card number, it'll do the EFTs for you as well once approved.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
So soon you'll be able to do BPay on this as well. Right now it's just EFT only. But so this is a really cool
procurement processing system, given that you've got the approvals, EFTs, card payments, and all that in there. So it's not just a virtual credit card platform. It's actually a payables system.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vision of the product. Like we see this product being where all the spending happens. So whether it's cards, bills, maybe payroll one day, right? Process payroll, that sends notification here, I review it, approve it, and then we pay it all to the right person.
Yeah, nice.
So that's the DiviPay bills function. It's very simple, relatively new, but really straightforward, really effective.
Yeah, cool. So what sort of sync happens with Xero or the accounting software in this bills set?
So on the Xero side, we create the bill in every stage. So from draft all the way through to awaiting or to paid. So we go draft, awaiting approval, awaiting payment, paid.
Yep.
As it moves through the stages here. So if all your bills are flowing into DiviPay, then you're not going to have to do anything with the bills in the Xero side.
Gotcha.
It'll automatically just be moved along as it needs to.
Nice. And so is it a two-way sync between the platforms that you've got?
At the moment, it's a one-way sync.
Okay.
We are looking at a two-way sync. We are looking at potentially being able to pull bills directly from Xero. So we see some instances where the workflow, the bills are created through other systems like, say, SimPro. I've seen examples of people using tools like SimPro. Bills tied to jobs, that goes into Xero. The real value we provide here is actually secure payment without having to log into the client bank account.
Yes.
So I think we can hone in and focus on how we help the bills get paid, regardless of how they get in. Will be it'll be much more widely accepted because it'll be able to be used by more people.
Yeah, nice.
That's DiviPay in a nutshell. I haven't touched on like the settings or anything like that, but you'll see this is the chart of accounts where we do the mapping between accounting softwares. We integrate with Xero, MyOb, and QuickBooks.
Yeah, the big three. Yeah.
We are looking at being able to introduce a line of credit in the future. So
Okay.
This is live now, but it's just it's kind of like a placeholder for the moment.
Yeah.
And that will be hopefully before the end of the year. So that will be interesting as well.
Wow. Yeah, right. Nice. Yeah, releasing funds to small businesses is definitely, a popular topic at the moment. It's been a hot one for the last 18 months, I think. So, but good to, everyone seems to approach it with it from a slightly different perspective. So, just cool.
And this is the one that I mentioned before that's just gone live today. So we automatically attach that smart receipt, generates PDF copy, exports it directly into the accounting software and within DiviPay as well.
Awesome. Yeah. That's been fascinating. So, I mean, my little bit of an understanding of DiviPay before our chat today was that it was just basically virtual credit cards. So the fact that you can tie it to a budget, have multiple people sitting on the one budget, business owner has peace of mind that they've kind of capped what the spending can be, so there's no surprises, or the marketing guy doesn't get excited with the Google ads chasing leads or whatever it is in a month, but complete control. But then also having the payables process involved in it too. So again, time poor business owners can approve invoices that the bookkeeper using DiviPay in the back end can effectively set up for payment, whether it's by credit card or EFT, is really cool. There's a lot of functionality sitting inside there.
A lot of functionality, a lot of use cases. The big thing I find is it's not like we get some industries that really jump out to DiviPay, things like non-for-profits.
Yeah.
They're all over it. Companies and organizations that struggle to get access to cards in general.
Yeah.
DiviPay is a really good solution. So even just from the basics of being able to issue lots of cards really quickly or delete them really quickly.
Yeah.
A lot of people just love DiviPay for that purpose alone, let alone everything else that it can do, because it's so hard to get debit cards from the banks for some organizations. So non-for-profits, charities, tradies can be really useful. We've got a lot of funny stories about tradies where they go meet on the side of the road, on the highway to swap cards. Go on a job, come back and meet again on the highway to give the card back with the receipt.
Yeah, right. And it's probably all got the owner's name on it, which is neither one of them, but they all just share the PIN or whatever.
Yeah.
Less than ideal.
It happens in accounting firms too, right? Like I've heard some, top 100 firms, they give their card to the auditing team. Auditors go for a trip. There's 4 of them. They've got one card with the partner's name on it that they use for all their hotels, meals,
travel.
Yeah, and then keep all the receipts and try and figure it out later.
Yeah.
Whereas I could create a, one-off budget for the Dubbo trip.
Yeah.
And everything's tracked per person to the budget, and they've got they're enabled to pull the receipts through as it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the timeliness of it all too, like the live updates, so you don't get surprised by the expense claim at the end of a job too, is just brilliant.
Yep.
So how does the pricing work for it? Because I guess
Yeah.
that would be one of the key things too that people ask about.
So we charge per user, so not per card. So I know that we've spent a lot of time talking about all the different cards, unique card numbers and so forth. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many cards there are.
Mhm.
In this case, on this account, there's only 4 users. So everything I've shown off today is based on 4 users being in the account.
Okay.
So that would have been on our growth plan. So 4 times, are you looking just under $76 or something like that for the month for 4 users on the account? And that would have given you top-up requests, tracking categories, custom fields, all the subscription management piece we mentioned before is part of that growth plan. So it doesn't matter how many cards you've got, it's just based on whether you're on that plan or not.
Okay.
The starter plan is really good for low volume users. So I find sole traders that don't have a business bank account yet.
Yeah,
if
right.
they DiviPay card and they do all their business spending through that, then you're not going to have to go through their personal bank account to figure out business spending and personal spending.
Right. Nice. Yeah. We've had issues recently where it's just taken businesses that long to get a bank account open. In lockdown in Sydney, when a lot of branches are closed and it's hard to get to, it's been a struggle to get accounts open for some startups.
So this we can get started pretty quickly. I've seen some people set up and spending money within 60 minutes sometimes. It just depends on the entity structure, I find.
So that'll affect your KYC and all of that.
Yeah, so we have to do the KYC, anti-money laundering checks like a bank normally would, but we like to think that we do streamline it and make it a lot simpler than what it would be for a bank.
Yeah, nice.
You don't have to go into a branch to sign anything is a good starting point.
Yeah, true that.
It's all done online, which is good.
Nice.
But so that's the pricing. So starter and then growth, and that's where all that sort of fits through from there.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice. Good.
Yeah, it looks like awesome platform.
I'm stoked, excited for what this, where the product can go, what it can do. Getting a lot of good response from businesses across the country, especially in that accounting and bookkeeping segment, are kind of looking at it going, this is going to help speed up and streamline a lot of things for our clients. So